Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Morning Mama Show. We're going to give this just a minute to reach our Facebook audience. But while that's going on, I want to give a quick shout out to all of the replay viewers. I'm really excited that you're joining us whenever the time's right for you. I know a lot of you are moms just like us, so you're busy and you catch us when you can, which is, of course, always perfectly fine and awesome. And I want you to please share this video with any of the moms that you know. We're here every week for you, and so I love to get connected with as many moms as possible and give them some inspiration on Mondays. So maybe you have a case of the Mondays, maybe you have a case of the Mondays every day. Let's be honest, some of us are like that. And maybe you're on the opposite side and you love Mondays and you love mornings and you just want to be around other people that love that too. Whatever the case may be, the Monday Morning Mama Show is for you. And we're here every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time to give you fresh, fun inspiration. And we are on episode 13 of the Monday Morning Mama Show this morning. And my guest today and I are going to talk about mindfulness and mindset. And those of you that know me and are familiar with my Mom's Online Mastermind community, you know that this is a big deal topic for me. As always, I will be jumping in with some textbook definitions for you because that's what I do. And of course, my guest and I will be discussing the topic with you as well. So I want to quickly say hello to all of you that are joining us live this morning. Please say hello down in the comments. Make sure you interact with us throughout the show because it's always more fun with that way. And we are going to get jumping right in this morning. So, as always, I am your hostess, Jessica Dugas. I am the co-owner of Just Determined and the founding member of the Moms Online Mastermind community, where I help moms to reduce stress and overwhelm in their life. And I have a child awake now. Yay! My guest this morning is the fabulous Nicole Ivins, all the way from Queensland, Australia. I think this is the farthest away guest I've had from me so far. She's the owner of Calm Your Mind Wellness, where she is putting an intuitive twist on traditional counseling. Really, really excited about what you're doing with your work, Nicole. So welcome. I am so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about this topic today, mindfulness and mindset. It's in my wheelhouse with counseling, but also with intuition as well. So I'm really excited to talk about that tonight.
Awesome. Yes, and I have to remember it's not just the Monday Morning Mama Show, it's the Monday Night Mama Show where you are as well. So really excited about that. All right, so jumping right into our topic this morning, mindfulness and mindset. Comment down below if you're with us. What do those words mean to you? And do they mean the same thing to you, something different? And I want you to give us on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most important thing in this lifetime. How important do you think that mindfulness and mindset are in your life? Let us know down below on a scale to 1 to 10. Nicole, what number of importance would you give those two things in your life?
So mindfulness, I would give that a 10. I find that to be the most important thing. Mindset's important as well, but not as important as mindfulness. So I would be going probably a 6 or a 7 on mindset.
Awesome. And Samantha Jones is joining us, and she gives it a 9. Yeah, I think mine would be right up there with a 9 or 10 as well. And I think the combination of the two is even more important than even separating them out together. I think the combination together is important, and we talked a little bit about that before we went on the show today as well, where I feel like for a long time I was more focused on mindset than mindfulness and being present. And anytime you have any kind of anxiety or things like that, that's when you know that you need to start working on mindfulness and being present, which is really important. So I want to jump in really quickly. You guys know how I am with the definitions. So let's look at the two different definitions. Mindfulness. It means the state or quality of being mindful or aware of something. And then mindset is an attitude, disposition, or mood. And then the second part of that says an intention or an inclination. So I think that, would you say, Nicole, that it is important for you to be mindful of your mindset? That was the first thing that came to my mind when I read those definitions.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's really important to be aware of your mindset and where it's coming from. And that really helps you to then come back into the moment as well. If you start to observe what that mindset is and where is that coming from? What's happened in your life? What experience have you had that's causing you to have that mindset? Once you become aware of that, then you can start to respond from a place of calm rather than reacting due to past experiences.
Right, yes. And I think like we talked about before the show, my experience with traditional counseling had really been, exploring all those things in the past, but not really doing the mindfulness part of being present right now. So it would be like we would spend the whole session talking about, something that happened in the past, but then the session would be over and be like, okay, what do I do now? I don't know what to do now. So how do you bring into your work? How do you bring the mindfulness aspect in with your clients?
Yeah. So as an intuitive counselor, I can see exactly what needs to be healed. So it's a lot of a quicker process. So we don't have to go all the way back to see, where did this start? We need to look at how is this affecting you right now? What can we do right now to make you feel better, to make your day easier, to reduce any stress or anxiety that you're feeling? And mindfulness is a perfect way to do that, is bringing you into the present, getting you to be, and not acknowledge what's going on, be aware of what's going on and accept what's going on, so then we can help you to move forward.
Yes, that's awesome. And how do you start that with someone? Like, when I know a lot of people are really accustomed to traditional counseling and may not understand, this intuitive aspect of it, because I can see, in coaching moms, how important that intuition is. And it really does, I feel like, get you to the finish line, or at least, on your journey a little bit quicker when you can use your intuition to kind of tap in. How do you approach that subject with people and say, well, I'm intuitively able to tap in here so we can move forward? How do you talk about that with your clients?
So honestly, it again comes down to intuition. It comes down to my intuition. Are they open? If they're not open to it, then we don't go there. We just do the normal counseling, and it all starts with talking. And I find the energy moves on the words. So if I get them talking, then we can see what areas are needing work. And if I see or hear some words that will lead me to say, okay, hang on a minute, they are open to the spiritual side here, they can understand the connection between the body, the mind, and the spirit, then I will introduce that and let them know that I am an intuitive counselor. I am an intuitive, and I can bring through information for them if they are open to it, and it's their choice completely.
That's really interesting, and I love that and it's very much how I do my work with moms as well. I have a lot of moms that come in kind of the exact position that I was a couple years ago with. I grew up in a very kind of allopathic way, very, medical, very scientific, very not open to a lot of things at all on the spiritual side of it. And I have a lot of moms coming in the community that are the same way that I was, that are just now kind of hearing and kind of curious and how do I tap into my own intuition and things like that. And I kind of love that about intuition, where even if someone's not sure about it and they're not open to it, we still have it, and we don't have to like, put it in a dress and put it on the front porch for people to know. We can just kind of use it as it's necessary. And I think that's the really beautiful thing about being an intuitive, is that we're using it all the time. And I love that you're using it in your practice. I think that I wish that I would have had a counselor like that growing up when I needed it, because I feel like you can kind of, and how do you feel about this? Maybe, do you feel like it brings more of a connection with your clients, maybe more emotional with them, feeling more emotionally connected?
Yeah, because if you go and see a counsellor and they can pretty much pick straight away what's going on for you, you can ask a simple question: have you felt like this in the past? And they're like, wow, how did you know that? Then it's a direct emotional connection, and they feel so comfortable with you straight away. Whereas in normal counselling, it can take quite a while to build that rapport up for them to be comfortable to open up. So I find it really quickens up the process, and we get that connection pretty much straight away.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, and I can see how that would be great as well. I know when I do a lot of intuitive readings with people, it's very similar. When I have someone come on the calls for the first time and I'll do a reading for them, and they're like, oh, and then they come back every time because I've been able to make that connection with them. So I feel like that's even more important with being a counselor, because you want to have that rapport and that trust with your clients. So what is the process? Let's do the chicken and egg question. What should come first, mindfulness or mindset?
I think mindfulness, in my opinion. I think that needs to come first. And then we go into where is the mindset sitting? Because we need to be aware to know what our mindset is anyway. Otherwise, we're not going to know. So if we can become mindful first, then we can see what that mindset is and where it's coming from.
Yes, and I think that, going back to what I was talking about when I had gone through traditional counseling when I was younger, I feel like if the mindfulness piece was introduced first, it would have helped me to deal with kind of the mindset and the things that were being brought up from when we talk about those past experiences in counseling. I feel like you have to be, and even now when I do healing work with myself, I have to be in a really good, stable, strong state of mind to deal with a lot of the junk that comes up. So I think you're right on with that. The mindfulness piece is so important, and knowing you are safe in this moment, you are secure in this moment. The things that are coming up, that's not you right now. That is okay. And so I feel like that mindfulness aspect really can lessen the amount of anxiety that can happen, especially when you're dealing with a lot of that past junk that comes up.
Yeah, I think that's so true. As you say, when we're dealing with that stuff, it's a lot. So you do need to be in that mindful spot to be able to deal with the stuff that comes up, because it can be heavy sometimes. So I think that's really important.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about what are some of your different processes and some of the different things that you do to be mindful.
So there's a 3-minute breathing technique that I teach for people that are just starting out. So they're just starting out to be mindful. They might have heard the term because it's quite popular nowadays, but they're not really sure what it means. So I get them doing the deep breathing. So it's a 3-minute where they're just concentrating on their breath. And if they notice their thoughts drifting off, just coming back to their breath. It's just that practice. And for me, mindfulness is a practice. It's something that they need to build. So it's doing that or even 2 or 3 times a day, doing that 3 minutes of breathing just to get them connecting in with their body.
Yes, and I think that you touched on a good point, that you're keeping it at 3 minutes and making it really simple for people, because I think that, and I have clients like this as well that are put off by the word meditation, and they're put off by the word mindfulness because they feel like it's this thing that they're just not good at. And I think making sure that they understand that it is a practice, and there's moments when I'll know that I need a real good meditation, and I'll sit down and the kids are screaming and I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. But it really is that practice of bringing it back to right now. And it's okay if the kids are fussing, and it's okay if you hear the washing machine go off in the background or whatever is going on, during your day. If you just bring it back to center, bring it back to your breath, there's no wrong way to do it, and I think that that's something, it's especially important, as I'm working with moms who feel like they're wearing 8,000 hats and they've got so many things going on during the day, that there's no, meditation looks different for everybody. Mindfulness looks different for everybody. So if you had somebody come to you and say, Nicole, I'm not meditating, just doesn't work for me. I can't meditate. I can't do it because I can't even get 5 minutes of quiet. What would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
So when it comes to meditation, there's so many times that you've been told you have to sit still, you have to sit upright, you need to stop your thoughts. And then they're like, well, I can't do that, so that means I can't meditate. So what I explain to them, this is an observation, is a discovery process. I don't want you to stop your thoughts. I want you to see where they're going, where they're coming. What area of your life right now is your mind going a little bit crazy around, giving you that monkey mind where it's just thought after thought after thought. I want to see where that's going. So even if it's just a minute, it might be when you're going, to the toilet or to the bathroom, just closing your eyes, taking in some deep breaths, and just see where your thoughts go, and just note that down. And that's going to start to help you to see that might need some help at the moment.
And I think that what comes up in that craziness of trying to meditate or trying to be mindful or being present or anything like that, the craziness that comes up really speaks volumes for whatever you're going through, what your mind process is like, what your thought process is like. And so even if you can't get 5 seconds of peace, I would invite any of you that are trying to understand what mindfulness or meditation or anything like that looks like for you, that there's something that can be taken from everything that you're dealing with and trying to find this peace. And I know we do, right before the show, I do at 6:30 Central, we do a Monday meditation in the mom community. And I always keep it at 15 minutes because, like I said, a lot of the moms that come in are not, if I told them they had to sit down for an hour and meditate, they would be like, you're crazy and I'm leaving your group. Thank you. Where am I going to find an hour? I don't even have 5 minutes. And so I try to always tell them, even if you only get 5 minutes out of this 15 minutes, that's better than nothing at all.
Definitely. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, even for me, sometimes it'll be 20 minutes a day. Sometimes I can fit in the hour, but my kids go to school, so I've got that time. But sometimes it might be 5 minutes. And honestly, even that 3-minute breathing I was talking about, it can make a huge difference if you're dealing with some stress at that time. It can really help to calm your mind and calm your body.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's been such a big deal for me too, is seeing that effect on my body as well. I dealt with chronic pain for a long time, and the practice of being just in the present moment, just right now, has helped tremendously, because it's really easy when you've dealt with things in the past, especially something like pain issues, for when you get in this moment of pain, for it all to come spiraling back, like every moment that you've ever experienced pain before. And being present, being mindful really helps to, I think, get you out of that spiral of going down the rabbit hole, as I call it.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's definitely helps with the chronic pain. I've had that myself with back pain, and down when you've got pain, day after day after day, and certainly using mindfulness to bring yourself back into the present moment can really help. Because if you're thinking, I've had this pain, for 6 months or whatever, it can really get you down, and as you say, go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it takes you down another thought. There's been a lot of studies that have been done about illness and relating to stress and worry, and how much worse illness can get and disease can get if you are in this state of anxiety and worry about it. So I feel like a good mindfulness practice would be something. I feel like it's something that should be just taught across the board. I know Jen McDonald, that was on last week from Abundant Thinkers, she does mindfulness with her kids in her preschool, and that's really where it needs to start. And that's something else that I want to talk to you about, is that it's interesting because we have mindfulness things that we do in the mom community, and then as part of my membership, we also do meditation and mindfulness with kids. And it's always funny to me how few people show up with their kids to do these activities. And I think sometimes we get, and I know that it's been like this for me up until recently with things like diet and lots of other things in life, but we get to where we say as moms, oh, the kids are young, they don't need, that. How important do you think it is to start teaching the children things like mindfulness and good mindset earlier in life than we had it?
It's so important. And like I talked before the show about I've got 2 teenage daughters, and one who has epilepsy, so her anxiety and her stress sets her seizures off. So it's very, very important that she has learnt the mindfulness, which I've taught her. And then my younger daughter is also quite sensitive, so she can get quite stressed out as well. So she's learning it as well. But it would have been good for them to have learnt it at an earlier age. So in primary school, and I think it should be taught in primary schools. Because kids nowadays, they're so, like, we're busy. The kids are busy. They've got so many other things that they've got going on. And the pressures of high school is pretty huge for them nowadays. So I think that mindfulness would really, really help them and reduce that anxiety down as well.
Absolutely. And especially now as an adult, having these experiences myself, and realizing the amazing shift that's occurred within me, I just want everyone that's on the call today, if you're a mom, imagine for a moment that you had these skills that you're learning now, or maybe you don't even have these skills yet, but imagine you had them as a child. Imagine you had these skills when you went to take a test in school. Imagine you had these skills when you went to take your driver's test, when you got your license. Imagine you had these skills when you experienced your first loss, when say, a grandparent passed away or something like that. Imagine how much different things would have been for you growing up if you had these skills. And so much of what I've said lately when I've done meditations and done different activities with my moms is, you should be doing this with your kids too. And yes, your 2-year-old is not going to sit there and do an hour meditation with you. They're not going to do it. Let's just get that out of the way. However, you can teach them simply to breathe and to be mindful of their breath. And one of the ones that we like to do with our kids is imagining that they're a tree. And how much fun is that to let the kids imagine they're a tree for a minute, and they get to design their own tree and make whatever color leaves they want, but it teaches them about grounding and about being in this moment and being strong. And I know, Nicole, your experience with your daughter as well, I'm sure that maybe even knowing earlier on about mindfulness practices would have made this kind of transition a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, because she's got epilepsy. She's been struggling, with anxiety since she was a baby, really. So if I'd had these tools, if I'd known about them earlier, her whole primary school would have been a lot easier for her. She struggled with her language because of her seizures, which we didn't know about at that time. So if we'd had all of those tools and she'd known about them, I'd known about them, it would have been a lot easier.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, we are getting towards the end of our time. Like we were just talking before this, I'm always like, where did the time go? I want to talk about 20 more things. Well, I've loved having you on the show today, Nicole. So if you would take a moment and let everybody know where they can find you, how they can work with you. I'm going to put your website up on the screen so they can see it.
Wonderful. So I also have a group over on Facebook if you'd like to come and join us over there. So that is Strong Women Living with Purpose. So we have meditations in there as well. Today was Miracle Monday, so to bring miracles into our lives for the week. So we have all these different things that we do every day. So I'd love you to come over and join me over there.
Awesome, awesome. And then I put your website on the screen for everybody. It's calmyourmindwellness.com.au. And you do virtual appointments as well, right? You're not just local?
That's right, yeah. So I do 3 different ways with my counselling. So I do walk and talk therapy for anyone local, as well as mobile counselling. So I go to them, and then also have the online counselling. So I can talk to anybody across the world, which is wonderful.
Awesome. And we love that too. We were just talking about that before the show as well. It's so neat that we can connect in this way so far away. It's Monday night late where you are, and it's super early Monday morning where we are. So the time zones blow my mind. Like I'm always amazed at, being able to talk to people that are so far away. So really excited to have been able to connect with you today, Nicole. And as I mentioned, you can find me in the Moms Online Mastermind community. It's facebook.com/groups/Moms Online Mastermind. We welcome new members into the community every Sunday morning. And we have meditations in there as well. And the Diamond membership, like I mentioned, we do have the kids meditations every Saturday. And really getting the kids to start doing some of these mindfulness activities too is really important. So you can find me there as well. And I think that is a wrap for today. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode, where I will be here every Monday morning for you at 7 a.m. Central Time. Next week, same time, same place, we will be episode 14, and our topic is creating a no judgment zone. So that's going to be a really good one as well, with my special guest and favorite outlier mom, Kim Zielinski, who is also a member of the Moms Online Mastermind. So excited to have her here. So thank you so much again, Nicole, for being with me today, and I hope you will come on again and join us again in the future. And until next time, this has been Jessica Dugas, reducing stress in the world, one mom at a time. Have a great day, everybody.